Hi, Donna with Smokin'Licious, back to you again from Olean, New York in America. Today we're going to feature a sweet treat done again outdoors on our grill. This is a wood-fired banana bread that you can use as a breakfast bread, a dessert, or just as a sweet treat snack. So get ready with your ripest bananas you can find and meet us out at the grill and we'll show you just how to do it. To start our smoked banana bread, we're going to need 4 very ripe bananas. I have a discount at my grocery store where I can go to the discount rack and purchase bananas that are this ripe for a very inexpensive price. So look for those at your local market. You're simply going to peel the bananas, and we just want to have them now. Because this is going to go into a banana bread, there is no need to be precise. We just want to get them into some level of piecing so that the smoke will be attracted to the moisture of the banana. Again, bananas are one of those fruits that are very moisture rich. So once we have all of our bananas sliced, we'll be able to put them into the disposable tray and put that directly on our grill. Now, I am going to be doing a different technique with our bananas this time. And that is, I won't be using the grill grate. There's really no purpose for it when I'm using the disposable pan. So what I will be doing is just placing that pan directly into my charcoal area of the grill. Remember, you have the flexibility with charcoal grills to use the grates or to go directly into the firebox area. This will allow our bananas to infuse with flavor fairly quickly and allow us to move forward in our recipe in a pretty easy manner. So we'll get the last one, and then we'll get our pan off on the grill. Okay, so we're using our Weber kettle grill again, and I've already prepared it with some wood chips, charcoal, with basically I'm down to just hot coals, and I've split it into my 2-zone cooking. So again, be ready for the smoke to come out. This time, I'm not going to be using the grill grate. I've set it aside, and you can see where I have my area set for my pan. I'm going to place the pan, which fits nice and snugly in there, and then you'll see that my wood chips are already in play, already putting out their essence. Because bananas are very moist, this is not going to be a very long process. My heat is just about up to 300 degrees, so we only are going to need about 15 minutes. Remember, we are not cooking the bananas, we are merely infusing them with flavor. It doesn't matter how mushy they get because it is going to go into the bread. Okay, we're back. We have removed our smoked 4 bananas, very ripe bananas, from our smoker, which took about 15 minutes. We have let these cool down. You will notice that when they cool, they're going to get darker in color, and that's fine. You're going to immediately be able to smell the smoky flavor coming from the bananas. Remember, bananas are 75 to 80% water, so they take in the smoke readily. You do not need to keep these on the smoker or grill very long. So once they're done, you'll just want to take a fork and just gently mash them a little bit. Most of our mixer is going to do the work, but have them a little bit pre-mashed ahead of time just to reduce some of the effort. And remember, riper the bananas, the quicker the smoke infusion will be. So once that's finished, we're going to set our bananas aside. And let's just go through the ingredients in addition to the bananas. For one, we're going to use a flour. Now, I've elected to use coconut flour because I'm going to actually be adding coconut into our bread as well. We also have sugar, 2 eggs, sour cream, softened butter, baking soda, salt, and then I'm using vanilla paste, but you can use a vanilla extract. Just know if you do go in the paste, you'll need 1/4 of the total that you would need for the recipe if you were using an extract. And then for your options, you can use coconut and some type of nut. Today I've got walnuts selected, but you can feel free to use almonds, pecan pieces. You can use a whole mixture of different nuts. Anything that fits your taste, go ahead and include. And you could also include little things like chocolate chips, if that's something that you like. So, you know, anything that you can think of that would be more like a cookie base, you can consider for this bread as well. So the first thing we need to do is start to cream our sugar and our butter. So we're going to remove our dry ingredients for now. Those will be second up. And also going to remove our optional ingredients. And we're going to be starting with our large bowl. And you'll need an electric mixer. You can do this by hand if you'd like. And also, before we get started, you will need a loaf pan. Okay, just a standard bread loaf pan. I'm going to elect to do my greasing with butter, but you can certainly use any one of the types of cooking sprays. I have a preference for coconut oil, but you can use any of the straight Pam or even the off brands of a nonstick spray. Those work just as well. I just am a person that tends to like to do mine old style. So I'm just going to butter the sides and the bottom of my pan generously so that our bread will come out in one piece. And I happen to find that the added little bit of butter is nice and tasty to the bread's exterior as well. Okay, so once it's buttered, you can just put that aside and we'll get ready to cream our ingredients. So first in is going to be our sugar. Now today I'm using my standard white sugar. I have used coconut sugar. You can use any variety that you have a preference for. Organic is fine as well. And then to that, we're going to add our softened butter. And this is a whole stick of butter. And once that's in the bowl, go ahead and set your mixer. And we'll start to cream this. And we're shooting for just kind of a crumbly dough. Once you reach that stage, it's time to add the eggs. We have 2 eggs today. And again, any egg will do. I have a preference for browns. We get them grown locally here. Okay, and then cream those together. And advance your speed as it gets a little bit creamier. And you just want all of the chunks to be removed. Okay, you can set that aside. And then to that, we're going to start a second bowl. And this is going to be for our dry ingredients. And so for that, flour. Baking soda. And today's flour is coconut flour and kosher salt. We're just going to give that a quick blend. I just love the smell of coconut flour, one of my favorites. And then we're going to take the flour and we're going to add that to our soft batter. We'll give that a blend. And remember to start your mixer on low when you first start adding a dry ingredient so that it doesn't go all over. once you get a little bit mixed in, you can start to advance the speed of your mixer. Okay, once you've got kind of a ball doughy consistency, you can go ahead and turn your mixer off. And to that, we're going to add our smashed banana. And this is fresh from the smoker pan. And then we're also going to incorporate the sour cream. We'll give it a mix. And you'll start to feel your dough firm up. Again, this is a very dense bread dough. Okay, now for those that want a thinner dough, you can feel free to increase your egg composition. And you can also increase a bit of the cream, the sour cream. Oftentimes, sometimes when I want a little creamier texture, I'll actually put in a bit of light or heavy cream as well. And then we're going to drop in our vanilla paste or vanilla extract if you're using extract. I had a little bit of salt that stayed, so I'm just going to put that in as well. And then just slowly reincorporate it. And you'll see that it kind of resembles kind of almost like a stollen batter. For those of you that have made stollen. Okay, and then the rest I'm going to start incorporating with my hands. So once I'm at this stage, and you'll see where it's starting to come together, now we're going to hand enter our optional ingredients. So I'm going to put my coconut in first. I'm using just about a half cup. The smell is just amazing with the coconut flour and the shredded coconut. Mine is very fine coconut too. I like to use the finer ones. If you really like the shredded coconut to have longer length to it, to have that kind of bite and texture to your bread, you can feel free to use that. I just like the finer texture to it. And then we're going to add our nuts. And remember, whenever you're working with anything that's considered like a drier bread dough, you always want to try to work from the outside of your dough to the inside. And that'll ensure that you get good incorporation of all the ingredients. And mine will have that little bit darker color because I am using that coconut flour, which is more of a dark wheat based. Kind of gives you the feel of like a brown sugar. Okay, and once it's all incorporated, we'll get our pan ready to go. And then what we're going to do is just gently start to form this into our pan. This is where you have to have a nicely greased bread pan. The dough is going in on a somewhat dry base. And try to make it as even as you can. and you'll find that the center will tend to be your rising spot as you put it in. So just use the back of your hand, just kind of firm it down. Tap it to get any air out that may be trapped between the layers. And we'll be ready for our oven, which we've preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This will take just over an hour, about 70 to 75 minutes. And again, as with any bread or cake, you'll be testing in the center. When you get a toothpick or a knife tip that comes out without any crumbs, you'll know that you're there. Okay, we have put our bread into the oven. Our bread only took about 45 minutes, and a lot of that is dependent on the temperature of the day, your altitude, etc. So for us, it was about 45 to 50 minutes. I would recommend that from the 40-minute mark on that you start to test your bread. I only did one turn in the oven, and otherwise, it was good to go. So now I've let it cool on a cooling rack for about 10 minutes, and I'm just going to flip it out of its pan. And then after I flipped it out of the pan, I'm going to flip it to a tray. So just make sure that you have something that you can handle. And there it is. Okay? So one of the things that I failed to mention when I was doing the ingredient section is that my coconut was an unsweetened coconut. And that's the preference for me when I cook. Or when I add it to oats, etc. So we are going to put a little bit of a dressing on this. So I'm going to move our bread aside. And this is very simple. It is just a confectioner's or powdered sugar. And I'm using heavy cream because that's my preference. You can use milk. You can use low-fat milk if you'd like. Even water is fine. And if you'd like this to have a slight flavor, depending on what you're serving your bread for, if you want it to have a minty flavor, lemon flavor, orange flavor, you can add an extract directly to this once it gets into the liquid state. Now another tip for you, I'm mixing in a large measuring cup. And the reason I do that is because it's got a pour spout and it's going to make it very easy to drizzle it on. You won't have to dirty two different cooking utensils in order to get your icing. So I'm just going to slowly put in a small amount. Remember, powdered or confectioner's sugar does not take a lot of liquid to get to the point that you want it. So you can decide on the consistency of your icing. I'm going to turn this on, start it on low, and I am using a whisk. And I'm just going to drizzle a little bit at a time. And you'll see it just slowly start to coagulate. And we watch it carefully because if you go too far, you'll have to go back to adding sugar. And you can increase your speed as you get past the powdered stage. And I want mine to be at least not clingy to the spoon. I want it to drip off a spoon level, but I also want a little bit of it to kind of cling like an icing. So right now I'm about at cake icing consistency. And another way to test out your finish is to mix it. Shut your beater off, lift it up, and kind of see how fast it leaks off of your whisk. So mine is pretty close. I'm going to just give it a couple more turns. Make sure all the lumps are out. And remember, a higher speed is best for removing any lumps. I'm going to reduce my speed, add a couple drips more. And I was at about half a cup of powdered sugar, and I probably am using 3 tablespoons or so of cream. Okay, and I think I like that. And then you'll see how it's going to be a slow drizzle, and that's kind of my preference, so you can decide how much you want on it. And I usually just like to do a little swirling. And you can always keep this as a side when you're serving, and that way if somebody should like to have a little bit more frosting to dunk on, they're welcome to it. And that's it. Smoked banana bread that, of course, we have to get a sample of.
That's good though. Very good. The icing adds a lot.
Okay, thumbs up from photographer Angela. So again, bringing you our smoked banana bread. You can make it dense. You can make it more cake-like. It's totally up to you. In our next episode, we're going to be bringing you a smoked cocktail. And this one will feature a whiskey. So thanks to Clinton and team, and we're glad to have had you join us. This is Donna and Angela from Olean, New York in the United States, wishing you great times in the kitchen.